Alright, savages, welcome along to Sceam Botty. I am your host, Rodney Stewart. Star Trek, once again. This is Season 2, Episode 23, The Omega Glory. This is a strange little episode, and how it plays out at the end of it. And it makes sense in a strange little way. And the parallels of Earth in this episode are strange, to say the very least. Let's go through the plot right now. I'm going to destroy it for you completely, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out and come back and check out this podcast once you're done with that. I'm just going to give you some thoughts as we go through it, and we'll look out for the reception of this episode as well. I love doing that at the end of the episode as well. So Enterprise, it shows up at this planet Omega 4, I think. That's Roman numerals, me and them. We're not excuse me, I'm having a little smoke here while I'm doing this podcast. I really shouldn't be. I should be stopping this sort of stuff at my age. But, right, shows up this planet Omega 4, let's just say. The USS Exeter is found orbiting it, and Captain Kirk, Spock, Dr. McCoy, and Lieutenant Galloway beam over to the Exeter to investigate. They find the ship completely deserted, except for the uniforms of some of the crew lying about, and they're covered in this substance, like kind of like crystals. And McCoy figures out it's human remains. Whenever you take out the water, this is all that's left. They check out the ship's logs, and that reveals that the Exeter's crew died from an infectious disease that had been brought from the planet, and that Enterprise's landing party is now infected and must beam down to the planet if they're going to survive. So off they go, down to the planet. That's the last coordinates stored in the transporter. So they get down there and they discover the Exeter's captain, Ron Tracy, and Tracy explains that he's been on the planet when the disease had ravaged the ship, stranding him there. He says he has discovered that remaining on the planet gives him an immunity to the disease, and he says because of that, you're now on the planet, you've got the disease, we're never going to leave here. He then reveals that the villagers that he's living with on the planet, known as the Kohms, are at war with savages called the Yangs. After a Yang attack, Spock investigates the battle and finds evidence that Tracy has been helping the Kohms in violation of the Prime Directive. Kirk tries to contact the Enterprise, but he's prevented by Captain Tracy, who tries to justify his violation by revealing that the planet's natives are not only immune to this mysterious disease, but have developed lifespans of over 1,000 years. So his whole deal in this here is to try and work out what this is, the fountain of youth sort of thing. No disease, no growing old, longer life. Who wouldn't want it, sort of thing. Tracy orders McCoy to investigate the secret of this longevity, and has Kirk and Spock locked up in a crude jail with two Yang prisoners, one male, one female. Kirk is then thrown in with these two, and they don't talk, they're just wanting to fight, sort of thing. Up to this point in the episode, they're kind of shown as barbarians more than anything else. But they do manage to get a compromise going. Kirk and the Yang loosen one of the bars of the cell window, but the untrusting Yang knocks Kirk out and escapes with the woman. When Kirk recovers, he and Spock make their own escape. Spock is reunited with McCoy and modifies some medical equipment, turning it into a makeshift communicator. But Tracy discovers this, destroys it. McCoy and Kirk try to explain to Tracy that they've discovered that the natives' longevity has nothing to do. Longevity? Did I say that word right? I'm not sure whether I did or not. The reason these people on the planet, the reason they live so long, has nothing to do with their immunity to the disease. But Tracy's mind snaps and he attempts to force Kirk to order more weapons to be sent down from the Enterprise. Essentially, this disease here, the natural immunity that these people built up was from being on the planet through whatever this disease started out as, and as time went on, they got more and more resistance against this, that, and the other. They live longer because they're here, sort of thing. There is no secret to it. It's just, it is what it is, sort of thing. Tracy goes mad and tries to force Kirk to order more weapons to be sent down from Enterprise. During a struggle between the two, Yang warriors arrive and carry everyone back to their village, and it turns out their leader is Kirk's former cellmate, known as Cloud William. During a ceremony to celebrate the Yang victory, Kirk and Spock, discussing the Yang culture, connect the names Yang and Com with Yankee and Communist. Spock then works out that the history of Omega 4 has closely paralleled that of Earth until the former was devastated by a biological war that Earth had avoided. The hypothesis is confirmed when William produces a very old American flag. That's the point in the episode where me, suspending disbelief for the whole thing, kind of fell off the wagon. Like, you know, that's one thing for two cultures and two different planets to have similarities, but to have the exact American flag there, and the Declaration of Independence essentially is where I kind of like fell out of it ever so slightly. Yes, so this American flag shows up along with ancient documents for which he recites the Pledge of Allegiance in garbled accent. The Yangs are shocked when Kirk chimes in to recite the end of the pledge for them. Captain Tracy, in an attempt to save his own life, denounces Kirk and Spock, claiming that they have been cast out of heaven, and points to Spock's similar appearance to the devil as proof. So this is a callback to that was the thing whenever Star Trek first came out. There was a lot of people fell off their high horses whenever they seen Kirk. They said he looked like a demon, he looked like a devil, sort of thing. So for this episode to actually use that was a wee bit of a screw you to the people back in the 60s. If they had computers back then, home computers and smartphones, the keyboard warriors would have been bucked off. But back then there was a letter writing campaign similar. Was like, oh, we should cancel this show because it's promoting satanic things with a satanic looking character as one of the main characters in the episode. Blah 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 blah. Wise up, catch yourselves on. William asks Kirk to prove himself by completing the sacred words from another document because of the accent. That's the thing, they're reading this out. It's like because of the time that has passed since these ancient documents, people have just forgotten how to say words in some way, shape or form with this group of people. Kirk doesn't understand the words and instead suggests a trial by combat between himself and Captain Tracy. As they fight, Spock sends a telepathic suggestion to William's female companion to activate the communicator. She does this, and Sulu beams down with a security team to see what's going on, and they take Tracy into custody. Claude William now kneels before Kirk as if he were a deity. Kirk tells him to stand up. The second document proves to be a version of the American Constitution, and Kirk rebukes the Yangs for forgetting its meaning and declares that words were meant not just for the Yangs but must also apply to everyone or they mean nothing. William doesn't fully understand, but he swears to Kirk that the words will be obeyed by everyone. As the land party leaves, Kirk pays a moment of silent tribute to the American flag. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. It is a great little story, and what it's trying to get across there, it's just like, you look at America at the minute, it's getting, and now in 2026, it's getting pulled apart at the seams. It just seems that everybody's fighting with everybody else. You've got the two political sides there going head to head and this, that, and the other. Whereas, if they just looked at the Constitution and went by it, everybody would get on, sort of things. So that's what I was kind of putting across here. Let me see here. I'm going to get into some reception for this episode. 2015 Entertainment Weekly highlighted the scene where Kirk reads the United States Constitution as one of the most important moments in that character's life. What Culture ranked this episode the 15th worst episode in the Star Trek franchise. 2016, Sci-Fi included this episode in a group of Star Trek franchise episodes that they felt were commonly disliked but deserved a second chance. That's very fair. In 2017, this episode was rated the 8th worst episode in the Star Trek franchise up to that time by Screen Rant. In 2018, CBR included this episode in a ranking of episodes they stated were so bad they must be seen. CBS News listed the Omega Glory as one of the worst episodes of the original series. And in 2017, Den of Geek ranked this episode the 5th worst Star Trek episode of the original series. I wouldn't say it's that bad. It's not great, but it's not at all bad. As I say, it's just the story that they tell has to have that direct connection between Earth and this planet Omega 4, whatever the hell you call it. Roman numerals, me again, aren't good bedfellows. But the fact that it's identical kind of throws the whole thing out the window a little bit. There is an analysis section here online I've came across. According to author Daniel Leonard Bernardi in his book Star Trek and History, Racing Towards a White Future, like a Federation and Kohms have full command in the English language, although they speak with a homogenized age and accent. The beginning of the episode thus shows that those with white skin can be uncivilized savages, and those with yellow skin can be civilized and rational. This would be counter to the hegemonic, I think I said that word right, this would be counter to the representation of Asians in the United States media that devise collective of peoples are constantly constructed in TV and television, film and television, as menacing yellow horde. Bargardi goes on to say the Omega Glory is not, however, a counter-homogeny episode. In fact, the episode not only reveals an unwillingness to be critical of the homogeny of racist representations, but also systematically participates in the stereotyping of Asians. As the story progresses, the Yangs are constructed as noble savages. Their cause to annihilate the Kohms is established as justified. The Kohms, on the other hand, are constructed as brutal and oppressive. Their drive to suppress the Yangs is established in totalitarianism. This is more, I'm not even going to go through that there. This guy's just, he's over friggin' analysing the whole fucking thing here. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with him. There is some racial stereotypes in this episode, but if you're going to tell that story, you have to. You can't tell that story without doing that. There, that's what acting is. That's like, if this is the people that they're playing a version of, let's just say, like your man brought up Asians there, but it's more like the episode itself is more goes into the fight for independence in America and whatnot. But if you are going to play a race of characters in a TV show that's based on an actual real race of people, depending on the time, like you have to, if you're going to do it justice and if you're going to do it right in a way, if there was those injustices against people, you have to play it in the episode to get the story across. Like you can't, like everything's filtered these days, and anything that somebody feels that's in bad taste, it has to be thrown out. So like you're not going to get that effective story if you're going to throw out the stuff that's hard to swallow. If you're not going to do that, what the hell's the point, sort of thing. But that's my little rant done for it anyway. I'm kind of sorry I went into that analysis of the whole thing there. So overall, people think the episode's not that great. I would agree to a point, but it is definitely, is like someone said there in the receptions, the 2016 sci-fi included this episode as Star Trek and a group of Star Trek franchise episodes that were commonly disliked but deserved a second chance. So yeah, it definitely does deserve having a little look at, and definitely don't jump over it. Like, this is, out of all of them so far, probably the weakest one out of them, but it still has its moments in there. Right, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know send me an email. Tell me what you think. Are you enjoying the episode, or do you want to tell me not to give up my day job? Sceam me up, Botty at gmail.com. Let me know your thoughts. Check out the website, coinsagemedia.com, for everything else I'm doing. And yeah, check out some of the other podcasts. I'm working a lot on them at the minute. Pretty much everything's on the website at the minute, apart from a few things I'm working on, but I'll get that updated as soon as possible. Right, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Stay safe, and I will talk to you in the next one.